How do you avoid comparison from others' financial picture? I'm 32, 2 kids under 2, new house within the money guy rules. My wife is in a job transition. How do we stay encouraged? Sounds like the picture of the messy middle, Bo.
Bro, you are in.
I love this question.
You are in the messy middle. The messy middle is this stage and station of life where all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, I've got no free time. I've got no discretionary income. I've got 1,000 different things pulling me in 1,000 different directions. And I feel like I'm stretched so thin. And because I feel that way, one of the things that I naturally do to cope is I look around at people around me. I'm like, man, it doesn't seem like they're struggling the way I am. It doesn't seem like they're as tight. It doesn't seem like they're freaking out. It becomes very easy in this season to begin to compare yourself with other people. And so how do you stay motivated? How do you stay level set? Well, the first thing I would tell you, and this is what my wife and I talk about, because we got 3 little kids that, they're not under 2. We got 1 that's right at 2. We're like, it doesn't matter what other people have going on. So someone else, we go out to a restaurant and someone else's kids are like perfectly behaved and they're, crocheting right there. And our kids are just taking tater tots and flinging them across the restaurant. I'm like, hey, this is our life right now. And this is our season and this is our family and this is our us. And that's okay. It doesn't matter what other people around us are doing because what we care about is our family and what we're doing. And your finances are no different. So if you and your wife have a solid line of communication, we say, hey, this is why we're making the decisions that we're making. We want to be able to pay for these 2 kids to go to college. And we want to be able to be financially independent. We want to be able to provide memories and create a lifestyle that our kids are going to look back fondly on. And we're going to make sure that we don't have to move in with them in the future. If you guys have clearly defined the goals and the things that actually matter to you, it does not matter what anyone else has going on. And oftentimes in the world in which we live today, most of what you see other people have going on is kind of fake or pretend anyways. Agree? Disagree? Want to fight?
I had so many ideas just pop in my head. None of this is probably going to work, but I'm just going to go with it. I'll blame the cold medicine. I was thinking about, because I had an initial thought that I immediately wrote down, but I was like, but where did that come from? And I think about when I was a kid, the few times I got picked on. I've told you guys all know the Johnny Thaxton and the Andy Suttle stories. 2nd grade over my pick and pay shoes, and then in 7th grade in shop class. And I remember as a kid, you go home and you tell your parents, before my dad would, after a while, he'd just be like, you need to punch them. But, but before that, he'd be like, son, they're picking on you because they're jealous of you. Now, that is such, as a kid, logic. That works.
It works.
But now as an adult looking, I'm like, what the heck was he talking about? But it is a great skill set to break the illusion of who cares, what's going on. Because what I wrote down immediately was you've got to break the matrix. I think the system wants you to be broke. I mean, we have the entire world trying to get you to overconsume. We have everybody, it's just like one of the big custodians out there just changed how they're doing the default cash management where it's hosing you out of an extra % or 2. I'm not going to say any names, but it's stuff like that. I'm like, goodness gracious, the system continues to show me they don't want you to have money. So if you can understand that the matrix is broken, that you've got to completely retrain your brain to where, and more likely, your friends, you can love them, you can go on vacation with them, your relatives, you can love them, you can do everything, but realize they're probably horrible with money too. So you can't even use the comparison of all the things you see in their life or what you see on social media, and it brings you like, man, I don't know if I love what's going on in my life because they make me feel bad. Realize it's all fake. They're giving you the highlight reel, and that's why I spent so much, and we had a studio tour come by yesterday, and they got, guys, those last 2 chapters just crushed it. Those last in Millionaire Mission. I basically tell you why you got to focus on your why and knowing what makes you happy. And, and I caught on at a really young age because my dad got laid off when I was in middle school. And I realized that when we had some of the happiest days of our lives, when my parents were in their brokest stages of life because my dad was around and we were doing crazy, funky vacations, like going to timeshare presentations. It was such an education for me because I realized how disconnected happiness was from money. And that's why, David, you've got to spend some time take inventory. It's all built into the book. It's built into our food courses. Take inventory of who you are, what brings you happiness, where it really makes you drive to do things, and then cut out the noise. I lean in. Look, of course, our conflict is we think that we have the better message, but I really do believe it. I think if you hang out with us enough, we have this side effect of creating success. That's why it's called the abundance cycle, is that we just keep loving on you. I try to break the matrix message so that you can feel empowered to live your best life and not get caught up in having the latest, greatest, moving the goalposts, after you probably are in a place where you're pretty happy. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think that don't let the system convince you to outspend your happiness to where you actually end up over-consuming to the point that you actually took away your opportunities for living your best life.
A few tips on how to stay encouraged, to use as a tail end of your question. Date night for you and your wife. Steal away, get away from the kids, and just the two of you go out. And just remember, it's a time to reflect on, hey, life is crazy, life is stressful, life is wild, but you know what? It's pretty good. It's pretty sweet. We got wonderful things going on in our life. Annual net worth statement, you do that. That allows you to keep the long-term perspective on, okay, yeah, even though right now things feel tight and we're pulled thin, we're ultimately working towards a great, big, beautiful tomorrow. And then on those date nights or in those conversations, define what are the things that make you happy? What are the things that you actually derive value from, and do more of those things? And what I think you're going to find is that they're probably not things that cost a lot of money, especially not at this station and season.